I always ask in advance so you know that we're going to record this. And I'll tell you, honey, even if it's just we'll share it and we'll be the only ones. I always get something I was meant to when we engage this way. I have to go back and review it, and there's little nuggets that are meant for me in there. That's why I'd like to record these moving forward when we have these kind of dialogues.
Okay.
So back to you.
That. That is so interesting because I've been saying for the past few months that I needed to tell the story of this past year, because this 21 to now, my God, my life has I have learned a lot. I recognize that I know how to listen to the universe. I know how to listen. And what I've been learning thus far is so interesting. So I was saying I was in Chicago, September 21. And you've frozen on me. Oh, there you are. And I had my first mushroom journey. Because I said, what do I want for my birthday? I want to do something I haven't done before. And a friend of mine was like, well, I got some mushrooms. I was like, okay, let's see. And the intention during that journey was to connect and see what's next after this mission. I always called my moving to Atlanta this mission, what's next? What should I expect? What should I prepare for? And so the journey was really interesting. I did not know they had beaches in Chicago. I went to a beach in Chicago and immersed myself in that water. And there were 2 pieces of sediment. There weren't really shells or what have you that I picked up and carried with me. And from then, it seemed like the magic started. Because I was in St. Louis running those 2 hotels. I had a contract to manage 2 hotels in Fenton, Missouri. Ooh, what an adventure, a challenge. Oh my God. But that's another story.
We'll share hotel stories at another time. There's something else lurking, and I want to get to that today.
Okay. So after that, my business partner, Fatima, came to Fenton to visit, and we were traveling to Charlotte so that I could go home because I travel home 1 week a month. So we were talking about meditation and visualization. And I told her, whenever I'm meditating and I visualize, I want to go someplace and sit down, I go to my grandmother's house in Blakely, Georgia. And so I pulled up my Google Maps and I showed her the tree that I sit under when I go visualize or when I'm meditating. And she was like, oh, cool. And so I zoom out and I see Kolomoki Mounds. And I'm like, something hit me. I was like, ooh, Kolomoki Mounds. We used to go there when I was a little girl. And we would have, the old people called it Vesper service. And it was church, but not church. There would be song, dance, ceremony, but I'm 4 years old. I don't really know what's happening. So I was like, man, I haven't thought about this place in forever. So I said, maybe I should go visit Kolomoki Mounds. And I talked about it with Fatima, and then we went on, flew back to Charlotte. I was getting in the car that morning to drive on to Atlanta. And I said, well, I won't stop and get gas. I'll wait to get gas on down the road. In South Carolina, there was this gas station that I saw in my mind. I'm going to stop at this gas station. Cool. So I get on the road and I'm riding. And I get up to this gas station. It was back up. I turned on an audiobook that a friend of mine, Rosalind, that I met in yoga teacher training last year gave me. She told me to download it, so I put it on my Audible. It was called Black Indians. And this is the first time I thought about how African Americans and Indigenous Americans melded, or what types of how they might align. So I'm driving down the road. I get to this exit and there's a whole bunch of construction here in South Carolina. And I said, man, the exit's closed. So I'm going to go on to get some gas somewhere else. But there's a car in the left-hand lane, I'm in the right, that almost cuts me off and gets off on the exit. I was like, oh, okay. Okay, the exit is open. So I get off. I get off the exit, and at the stop sign, I look up, it says Tribal Road. I was like, well, that's cute. So, like, that's interesting. I chose this exit, and I'm reading this book now. And so I pump my gas at the Loves, and when I pump the gas, I look at the receipt, because I always get the receipt, and there were 3 instances of 303 on the receipt. I was like, well, that's interesting. Then I look at my odometer, and my distance to empty was 303. I said,
Did you ever stop to research what that angel number represents?
I didn't, but I look up and I see a water tower, and it says, welcome to Blacksburg, South Carolina. I said, and I sat there for a moment. I said, are you talking to me? And then I'm like, I said, what is the question? What was the question? Should I visit Colomoke Mounds? And I saw myself say it. I was like, okay, you talking to me? I'm listening. So I get back on the interstate, and I start to see in the construction zone this purple stripe in the construction zone. And I've never seen any purple anywhere in any construction. It's usually orange or yellow. And it was so pronounced to me because when Kiki passed away, whenever I see the color purple in a place that it normally wouldn't be, message. So I'm watching this purple and I'm looking around, and I take my phone out and I'm recording. I'm just recording what's going down the street because I got to pay attention. And I passed this truck and it says Tribe Express. I said, okay, I'm going to go visit Colomoke Mounds. I'm going to go visit. And so I called my mom. I said, Mom, when I come back next month, let's go plan a visit to Grandma's house down to Blakely, because I think I'm being called to visit Colomoke. She was like, what do you mean being called? So I tell her what's happening, and she was like, well, that's interesting. Okay, let's go. So I get to Atlanta. I felt accomplished. I listened. I get to Atlanta, and I'm telling my friend Nakia about this, and we go to dinner at Desta Ethiopian restaurant over on Briarcliff in Atlanta. And we get there, it's super crowded for some reason on a Sunday afternoon. And they sit us in a place in this restaurant I've never been. So they sit us on this outside patio and we're talking, and I'm telling her the story. And when I get to the end of the story, I just do this. Oh man, because wow. And I look across the street and I look right into Tribal Smoke Shop. I said, do you see that? She said, she looked across the street. She said, oh no, you need to go this week. I don't know what about this next month you talk about, but you need to make some time. So, okay. I called my mom back and I said, well, let's go down on Wednesday. She was like, no, it's going to be raining Wednesday. We're going to go on Thursday. Fine. Cool. So now I'm super intrigued. Now I'm looking up Colomoke Mounds. I'm figuring out what has this to do with me. So what I find out is that Colomoke Mounds it's a system of mounds in Blakely, Georgia, Early County, right near where Alabama, Florida, and Georgia meet, near the Panhandle. Okay. And this is the oldest indigenous ceremonial and burial grounds north of Mexico in the Northern Hemisphere. And I didn't know that. what has this to do with me? What I learned is my grandmother was the first of my maternal lineage to be born off that land. So my great grandmother and everyone prior to her is born at Kolomoki or is from Kolomoki. And I don't know what sat down in me, but I felt different after learning that, because I am directly connected to this land that I am being called to. So let me go see. So I started talking to my mom and my grandmother's sister, my Aunt Late, her youngest sister, about just asking questions about these people. Who are they? Where they come from? What happened there? Etc. Etc. I learned that at Kolomoki, it just stopped being active. Just all the people left at one time, seemingly, from records. I'm like, that doesn't really make much sense. Where'd they go? Where'd they come from? You know? So I don't really get the answers to these questions, but it comes to Wednesday, I go to my mom's and I ask my Aunt Late if she'll ride with us to Blakely to go visit my mom. She's like, yeah, sure. So we picked my Aunt Late up, and me, my mother, and so 3 generations of my maternal lineage are in the car headed down here to see what's going on. And I'm like, look at us on an adventure, listening. And as we're
well,
driving,
let me ask quick: is your mom and your other relatives, are they starting to get a vibration from there? I mean, does any of this resonate with them too?
So my mom, I don't know, but my mother's been acting differently. Example, we have started having quarterly family gatherings at my mom's behest at the change of the seasons. We had a winter solstice gathering, vernal equinox gathering. And I'm like, you've never been into this, Mom. Like, what's happening here? So yes, because everybody is on board with them, and we all gather. The last one was just on September 24th. It's amazing. So yeah. So we're driving down, and as we get nearer, we start singing songs. And these songs just pop up out my throat. These are the same songs that my mom and I used to sing on the way to grandma's house. And I start feeling like it is 1987. Like I'm looking at 2022, but it is 1987. And we're driving to grandma's. And we get to Blakely, and my mom has to stop and see her cousin to tend to some business at Papa's land, where she grew up on her father's land. And I go and stand in the town square, and I gotta hold on to things, because I can remember walking into the BC Moore, getting my Easter socks. I can remember walking around in this town square, and I see the flagpole, and some bad things happen on that flagpole. What I know is Early County is one of the few counties in Georgia to authorize lynchings in the town square. So there's that energy there. But as I'm standing there, I'm just listening, because it's a lot going on. And as we're going to visit Papa's land. We get some chicken. We go to the Blakely Chicken and get some chicken, because we're going to see our cousins too. So we're driving down the country road, and they start talking about the jamborees that used to be held. Because I was wondering, I said, why don't I know any of this? Why wouldn't I know any of this? But as I start to listen to these stories, my mom is talking about her father's people. And my mama grew up in, for all intents and purposes, a rich kid, a farm rich kid. They had the jamboree at her father's land, where John Deere, they come show their new farm equipment. The state senators come out. They come to so why would she be interested in these people up north of the county that don't fool with nobody, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand why this is new to me. So we get down to Papa's Land. I go visit. No, we turn off the paved road, and we're driving past this house. And I said, "Hey, whatever happened to Mr. Rex and those dogs that used to run out from behind the house?" And as I said that, 2 dogs come running from behind the house, and I'm like, "Huh? Is Mr. Rex sitting at the porch?" And he was sitting right there. So we stopped and we talked to Mr. Rex for a moment. And I haven't seen him since my grandmother's funeral. And we exchanged niceties and love, because he said, "Yeah, I miss Miss Ida and how she made sure that everybody," she said, "My grandmother used to feed the whole neighborhood on New Year's Day." She said, "Because if you have a good meal the first day of the year, you'll be full all year long." That was my grandmother. I was like, well, that is an interesting ritual.
Damn
now
profound,
that I think
though.
about it. Huh?
Damn profound, though.
Yes, very profound. And everybody in that neighborhood was sustained for the year because of those rituals. So we went to visit my grandmother's house. It's old, it's dilapidated now, but I visited my tree. I just sit up under my tree. Went down to across the field to my cousin Jeanette and Marvell. Marvell is my cousin, and that we would yell across the field. I don't know how she would get her voice that high so they could hear her across that field, but she yelled one time and they heard and come running. So we went across the field, and I learned that my cousin Marvell had been bedridden for about 5 years, and now he was unresponsive. He's just laying, and I didn't know that, and I didn't like it. So we go visit. We're outside eating chicken and biscuits, and I asked, "Can I go visit with Marvell?" So I go in the house and I go talk to him. I said, "What's going on, my friend? Like, we have a conversation. Like, what's happening? You've been laid up here for 5 years, and this is unfair to your wife because you don't have a bed sore, and she is waiting on you hand and foot. But that woman is tired. So you're gonna get what you get. What you got? You got some business here. Get up and take care of it, or take care of it on the other side, because you're not doing anything here." And so I loved on him a little bit, went on about our business. Sidebar, he passed away. That was in October. He passed away in January. So I figured he got his business taken care of. And now Jeanette is at every family gathering. She is running these, she is free. So that was good. Sidebar. So we leave there and go on up to the mounds. And it's a Georgia State Park now. So we go and visit the visitor center and get the little pamphlet and whatnot. And they have this video that you can watch. So we watched this video. It's a 13-minute video. And I'm enjoying listening to the history of archaeology there and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But after a while, I stopped noticing what they're saying because I got viscerally upset. Like, in my body, got mad. Because in that 13-minute video, they talk about 2 festivals they have on the property a year and all of these wonderful things. And I saw not one black or brown face at all in the crowd, nowhere. And I'm like, why? I'm very mad about this, and I don't know why. So I turned to my Aunt Late. I said, "I didn't see any black people in this video." She was like, she just looked at me. She said, "Oh yeah, baby, they don't let us come here for their things." I said, okay, fair enough. So we go to the mounds. Now I'm like, I don't know where to go now. I'm just loose. So we turn the corner, and woof, I know where I'm supposed to go. I see Temple A, the Temple Mound, and it's It sits in this huge field across from another smaller mound, and there are other mounds. They all circle this one. So I go there, and as I'm driving there, it says, I hear Brandis. And I'm like, I'm Brandis. And so I walk over to the mound and I look at it. And I always ask my mom about my name because I am Brandis, right? Brandis is not a common name. And when you're a kid, you research your name. I found out that my name is a German word. It's a pretty common German surname, but the word itself means a small broom-covered hill. And I've always been like, what the fuck is a small broom-covered hill? Like,
well, you got to ask yourself, how'd that get into your parents' head in the first place?
I've asked my mom. She said that she was watching a movie when she was pregnant, and she saw the name in the credits. She was like, that's my baby's name right there. And that was it. I am Brandis. So I walk up to this temple mound, and I'm going to show you. I'll show you the temple mound. Can you see this image? Probably not.
Yeah. Yes.
That is a small broom-covered hill. That is Kolomoki Mounds. That is the temple mound. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, I am Brandis. And so then I started thinking again, what happened at Kolomoki? What was it typically used for? It was typically a place for gathering, where you go to participate in ritual and ceremony. It was like DC at a prehistoric age, I would imagine, because it wasn't an actual town, but that's where you go to be in the know, to learn, to bury your important, because it wasn't many people buried there, but bury your really important, have ceremonies, that sort of thing. And then all of a sudden you don't.
That was what got my attention. When you raised the question of, all of a sudden they weren't from there anymore. They were just gone. That's where I want to put my finger down. Who was there? Where'd they go? And why'd they leave?
Exactly.
Did you get any of that yet?
No, I did. I have not researched it, but I found that there was an astronomical event around 528 AD that created a cloud in the sky. And something happened then. I got to figure that out. But that is the time period I got to figure out. What I felt, so I was standing there, I am Brandis. I walked up to the top of the Temple Mount, and I turned around to look at the field, and I don't know. I can only describe it as I felt like I sat down in myself. Like I heard, for example, the birds that I heard weren't new birds. I knew that song. It wasn't a song sung by a bird like that. I know that song. I heard that song before in Tuskegee when I was in my crib. I'm looking at the sky, and it looked, I didn't see faces, but I saw faces. It was faces there. There were people there looking at me. And I'm looking at them like, hey. And I am Brandis. So I walked down the Temple Mound, and I walked to the other, to the mound directly across. I circled it. I don't remember how many times. And then I came back to the middle, and I laid down. I laid down in the grass and closed my eyes, and I don't know how long I was there. I got bit by an ant, by one ant. And so I opened my eyes. I looked down. I was covered in ants. I just brushed them off, but I was like, okay, that was my time, I guess. And I felt so blessed, Lowell, because I'm Brandis. I feel like the blessing was I was able to listen. I heard you. I'm Brandis.
I get
And now what?
there.
And now what?
There's a couple of things I get out of there, and so I'm going to chime in here, and you take it for
Yes.
what it resonates. Look past your physical being. Separate yourself from your black label, because there's more to you than that. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, when you said you're Brandis, that person had none of those labels. She just is. More and more people, I get this resonance from them that, you know what I mean when I talk about druids, divas, Devic culture. I mean, these were like serious feminine divine priestesses that had command of the elements. Yes, they could bring down thunder. They were here to take care of Gaia. I keep seeing, especially women, feminine people coming across my path that have these qualities. And when you mentioned the other day, when we were talking about the first time we sat down, I called you a princess. That's the fucking thing that I put my finger on back then, that, later on, that'll take form. We'll know what that meant, but that's how you struck me then. You're striking me like that now. And so when you told me you laid in the grass and you were covered by ants and finally got bit by one and concluded that it was my time, look at how you melded with nature while you were there. Yes, she embraced you, and all these guys came to rally because there's a freaking princess here. We're going to go see her while she's here. That's like a tribute in my mind. When you were describing where this was, and you gave a time period that was around 500 AD or so, I want you to think maybe beyond that. I don't know if you've really started to wander down your past lives, but you were certainly in an area, and you were Atlantis. You were in Atlantis. Your soul was in Atlantis. That spot right there would have been a chunk of what Atlantis would have covered. Wander down that timeline and see what those rabbit holes bring back. There's something else that's there, which might, depending on how you vibrated with the time frame, the timeline. Atlantis sunk at one point, which would explain why you were there one day and you weren't after that. Didn't mean that your soul wasn't going to continue on, because you're immortal, you do. But that incarnation in that physicality, that one's done. You are already talking about, feeling multi-dimensional. I like to call it straddling dimensions now. You already can touch into things that the rest of us would think is crazy, but we know them to be true. You just know. You just know.
Just know. But I'm like, I know these things, but what does this all, like, what does this all, what are we doing here? What is happening? Because something is happening.
You got a purpose to serve, and you're figuring out what it is. So embrace the idea that you're getting this kind of contact from that kind of source. They're trying to help you restore those gifts that you got inside of you. So, clearly your empathic stuff pops out. It does for all of us first. You want to love on everybody else. That's why you took the time with the guy that you were loving on and straightening him out. And it wasn't that you had a situation that you need to correct. You had messages for him. You were the vessel, but you were going to give it to him right between the eyes. That's kind of your approach. And source is a no-nonsense approach. Loves you for sure, but here is truth. Deal with it as you may. You resonate with that, and now it just makes your light expand. So when you get around guys like that, they sit around and listen to you. They might not like it, but something about your light is infectious, and they really need to hear what she has to say. There's part of your role. Embrace that. And somebody asked me the other day, I know I'm attached to something. How do I know what my true, mission is? Well, here's what Toth had to say. None of us can tell you that. Just embrace the thing that you like to do most and just continue to do that. Because once that's all you ever want to do, now you've sent that thought out to the universe. And all it can do is just help perpetuate it back in return, because it's going to give you what you put out back in abundance. And when that's all you think about, well, sooner or later you're doing it because all you do is love to do that. You've just found your purpose. And you know what, honey? No one else can do it the way that you do. When I say you have a unique gift that the rest of us are waiting for, the fabric of the universe is not complete without your piece. No one else can do that. We look at you and marvel at the things that you can do because it's not us. Thank you very much. Yeah. You know what you love to do. Just continue to focus on that, and
I
the
love to
resources
support
will come.
people. I love to
Yes, you
support people
do.
being their best them. For example, let me
You
tell
know
you.
that's why you ended up as a hotelier, right? Because you're a
Yeah,
service to others being, and that's how you freaking
yeah,
played it out here. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I like to help you along your journey because I don't want, it's your journey, it's your life. But let me help a little bit. Let me help you get out of your way. The thing is, most people don't think they deserve. And that's what I've really boiled it down to. Like, why don't you think you deserve what you want? If what you want in your heart, you know, why don't you think you deserve this? It's
Worthiness is
asinine.
a theme. Oh, yeah, because
It
we
is
were conditioned that
everywhere.
way. You got to get past the conditioning, and that who's going to help me get there?
Man.
This is why you find tribe, where you can have these conversations and lay your heart out. Know that you're not going to be judged, because at the end of this, I'm not going to try and give you my interpretation. No, my job was to allow it to just flow and just let you channel. I will make observations if you wish, but
I would like
until I'm
observation.
invited to do that, I
I would
just
like
gave you them.
observation.
I just gave you them, and I could tell at the end of it, you went,
Yeah.
Well, that's my juice, first of all. And secondly, it made you start to think that, yeah, you probably do know your mission. That might not feel like it. And the uncomfortableness isn't that. It's the shift, and whatever is going on is happening, not just at that metaphysical level. It's starting to the more we think about it and it's in our awareness, now it becomes part of our physicality. And it took me a while for someone to explain that concept. This is how we bring things into the physical. We metaphysically know they exist and we can touch them, things that other people can't vibrate high enough to get. And when we bring it into our awareness, man, to bring it into your physicality, that's the next step. It's just a natural progression. No one told us how to do that. We had to trip over it. And hopefully we found some touchstones along the way that could explain it. Because you got there, how the hell did you get there? I know our paths aren't going to be the same, but man, whatever you can help me with, I invite that. You were triggered back when we had dinner that night. I knew that you were connected to higher things, and really the whole conversation, we were just comparing notes.
Yeah.
And knew that, somewhere down the line, forget, age, gender, color, none of that shit mattered. Oh, whatever we were talking about way went past that there's tribe in your heart.
It was
you just know. So it's not, when I saw you starting your journey, I'm going, yeah, she's going for it. She just leaned into it. She just, who told her to go that part of Mexico? And there she is. Yeah, she did not sign up for a tour because I don't see a whole bunch of people around her. No, she's there.
No, I'm there.
That takes some courage first, and some focus second, because you did that on your own.
Well, but wait, it's ease. So I've been calling into my life ease and pleasure. I want nothing but ease and pleasure. Those trips I went to because an old partner of mine that I hadn't talked to since 2012. Oh my gosh. Sidebar. We got back in contact the day after my Aya journey. He left the country in 2012, has not lived back in the country since then. He reached out to me the day after my Aya journey because grandmother showed me when I put him out of my life. He walked out of the door, and I saw myself put my hand on the door and tell him, you cannot talk to me again. You can never talk to me again. And I never heard his voice again until the day after my Aya journey. And the day after, Lowell.
Well, I do want to explore those. If you want to talk about them, I want to hear about your mushroom opportunity, and I want to hear about your Aya experiences, because we don't share that with a lot of other common people. Right. And I know I like to have an outlet to discuss it, just because I know I got something out of it. Man, when I was chasing spirit, and this might be one reason, I didn't go in there with the intent that I had some trauma in my past that I needed to just pull out and be done with. No, I was on a spiritual journey. So, man, if I can connect a spirit, Mother Ayahuasca, that way, open the door and let me see what it's like. I need to know it for myself. Yeah, but it's effective for all those other purposes. I was in a room of 15 people, and 12 of them had trauma they dealt with. I can tell you that the second day that we all parted and went different directions, these people had been moved. Mm-hmm. And whatever had been hanging in them, somehow whatever relief they needed came.
And it's amazing how everyone's journey that I've ever seen has been different, but it's exactly what that person needs.
Yes.
Amazing. In my journey, I didn't see a whole lot of stuff. I'm not a seer, a visual seer per se.
Well, not yet. But there's a level of achievement that you can get under Aya where you don't have those hallucinogenic type of visions. My first one was like that, like yours. Awareness, wake up. Oh yeah, but I didn't see crazy colors and shapes in the forest until the second time. Yes. Oh, here they're alive.
Oh, I did a Changa experience, and Changa was my visual. I was afraid to look at people's faces because it was just faces I could see. It was like a kaleidoscope swirl that was coming, like it would just come into me. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I don't.
Yep, that's the one.
Oh my God.
I can relate. Yes.
And it was like
moving holograms of color and shape. It's interesting. You got to be grounded to get through it because it's magnificent to see, but you've never seen anything like that before. It's just overwhelming.
And you can't describe it.
Yeah.
And
yours was different than mine. There's no way. No way. Wow.
When anybody ever asks me though, should they do it? I say yes. Because you came to me for confirmation and you should do it. Yes.
You want to find out who you are and what needs to be dealt with. That's the only way.
Yes. And so I watched the podcast. I watched your podcast. And I went back to the first one and you had the Topgolf shirt on. I said, how interesting. Because that was our last date.
Wow. That was long ago. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of interviews and podcasts that have been done since then. And I didn't sign up for this part. I didn't sign up to be a talking head. But I know that I asked for more powers. I realized I chose to come back here. I know I incarnated here, and I understand the reason why. That these light beings and angels and calm, whatever you want, have been around the planet watching us, and they've all been benevolent. But we didn't learn the lessons of Atlantis, and we were going that way again. And just look at the imbalance everywhere. That really the only way that their influence was going to take place is if they came and embodied themselves here and incarnated. We were the Blu-rays that came in the early 50s after, we proved that we were stupid by dropping nuclear weapons on the planet. Yeah, well, they weren't going to stand for that while we watched it and destroyed it. These little critters that last 80 to 100 years are going to destroy the planet. No, we're going to step in.
No.
So here's where the Blu-rays came in. We didn't know who we were. We were incarnated with the same lack of whatever wherewithal and brains we had. If you were born, shortly after that, they say like through 1978, you were a Blu-ray child and you heard the call of the universe. You came from wherever you were before Starseed and decided that you would participate in this human thing and you would take shape here. Eventually, you would be awakened. All of your tools would be restored to you and you would help others just in time for Earth's ascension. Because it wasn't contingent on humanity to all kumbaya and raise the vibration for Earth. Fuck that. Earth's on her way, whether we're on board or not.
Earth is, that is very interesting you said that. I've always said to people, what are y'all talking about, this climate change? These humans can mess up this Earth. She has cleansed herself before and she will do it again.
Yes. Yeah, she's going to the next stage of consciousness.
Kill us on off just as easy and not give a shit about it.
That's right. That's right. We're one of 7 billion critters in that regard. And to me, it just, you can go. But that's not, that's not where her love is. Right. And we get what we give what we get from her. The next realm is what we've all been waiting for. We're not playing around in this duality, density bullshit anymore. We learned those lessons. And those of us who vibrate right are the ones that are going to actually help humanity perpetuate to the next highest level. And, there are a lot that didn't and won't. They get a choice up to the very last minute. But, if they want to play out this third dimensional shit, it just won't be here because the planets move to a higher vibration. You got to get your vibration to the same place. It's a physics thing now. This isn't metaphysical. It's not spiritual. This is physics. If you want this body that you're occupying to survive, it's got to vibrate at the same level as she does. And there's no room for the bullshit. All just kind of it's entropied. I saw that the other day. That's a damn good word for it. It's just going to die off. And it's not that the soul's dead. You're not. You're immortal. You're going to go recycle and either go play third dimensional lessons somewhere else in the galaxy, but it won't be here. She doesn't vibrate at that level anymore. Hallelujah. I am glad that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. On one hand, it's scary to think that that's how soon it is. I don't articulate how much time we have left because I know what it is. And it ain't a lot of time to prepare. Now that shouldn't, I don't say that because I want to alarm anybody, because really when we get there, you have no idea how magnificent it's going to be. All of those things that you've tucked away in your head about co-creation and New Earth and all the beautiful things you have, that is the picture that you painted. In my little human mind, and I was starting to put this whole ascension, what's it actually going to be like? Because that's where my Capricorn mind goes. I want to understand the A, B, C, D. So I had a pretty good grasp on it. I understood that at some point, you're going to have this awareness of this right here, third dimension. Here I am in this density. And then it's like you're going to blink and there you are in the other end. So remember, I'm no longer carbon-based. I'm a crystalline body. Actually, you're more light than anything else, but I don't have to worry about maintaining this thing. My existence now will be measured in hundreds of thousands of years because you're just flawless. Your body doesn't deteriorate like this anymore. Your higher level of awareness, all your Akashic records, all the powers you have. If you want to float in space, you can do that. If you want to biolocate, you can do that because we've had that power forever. We just lost it when we came back here. Those are inherent in where we go, and you can manifest whatever you wish immediately. So it's not like that when I blinked, I'm this naked crystalline person with nothing there, but a lot of the rest of us are all waiting to figure out what the fuck we're going to do. It's not like that. We already understand in our minds what New Earth is going to have, where it is. You're going to see lots of things that are built out of crystal because that's just the way that we roll. And New Earth, although we think we're trying to get from this third dimensional realm to 5, the earth was 7th dimensional when she was made. That's where we're headed. Yeah, Bible be great, because we get to perfect it in physical form, but when you're 6th and 7th dimensional, you're just light beings. And there are 6th and 7th dimensional influences on the planet now watching.
Yeah.
We don't see them, we can't communicate with them because we don't vibrate there. But as soon as we hit 5th dimensional awareness, you can reach into that. You just have to decide, do I want to stay here in physical form, or do I want to abandon that and still expand? You're a soul, you do whatever you want, but it's been a long, hard drag to get out of this muck that we put ourselves in so long ago, and it's almost over.
That's comforting.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've not ever seen a solution.
A what?
I've not seen a solution, to our societies. I've never seen.
No, there wasn't one. The conclusion I came to is, yes, I understand we live in duality. And in order for me to understand the good stuff and get contrast, I got to understand the bad stuff. But look at how extreme the division has become. I don't see any possibility for even just pick one topic that we can all agree on. I don't see it, because the division now is so, you got to pick one side or the other. And now the other side is the enemy. Yeah. Only a reset is going to fix that.
Right. That's okay. I haven't been tripping.
No, you haven't. Your little empathic abilities and your intuition has served you well, because even when you didn't realize what it was, and you could take advantage of that perspective, it's been there all this time. You reflected on it in some of the stories you were telling when you were a kid. Yeah, you had it.
Yeah. Because one part of that story I didn't mention is I think I had a great aunt. Great Aunt Babe. Aunt Babe might have been 95 or so when I was 3 or 4. I was telling my mom, I was like, I remember walking the Colomoki Mountains with Aunt Babe, because she used to go walking every morning. I would go with her. She's like, no, you didn't walk Colomoki with your Aunt Babe. I was like, yes, I did. You can't tell me what I didn't do. I know I did that. She's like, okay, whatever. So when we leave Colomoki Mountains, I'm in the car. I said, well, let's go to Aunt Babe's house. I know the way. So as I'm driving, I'm like, oh, she right. There's no way I drove, because it's about 5 miles. There's no way I physically walked that when I was 3 or 4 years old with a 95-year-old woman. But I know I did that. So
yes, consider this. You were already straddling dimensions, honey. And you can't consider what my human body could do under those circumstances.
Right.
You walking through portals, or stepping from here to here, and in time and space that we can't really comprehend. Yeah, you do that.
Yeah. And I'm like, I know I did this. I don't know how. Maybe it happened in the past, present, or future. Maybe it happened somewhere else, but I know that happened. And so I'm looking forward to seeing my Aunt Babe again.
Yeah, they're around. You're going to get to the stage where you can reach into there now, but you're still here. That's the bitch of being able to do this. When straddling dimensions sounds like a really cool idea, but you know that once you get there and you enjoy that and you see it for what it is, you got to come back to this shit. Here goes your death. You just drop your vibration, and it's a bitch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll give you plenty to think about for a while. I know I left you introduce some other ideas, especially about your heritage and locations. And yeah, something tells me there's something about you. Well, I know you were in Atlantis, so go down that rabbit hole. The location of the place where everybody was from, that's what I'm fascinated by, and it fits the profile. It does.
And I was looking through some, I think that Yucatan Peninsula as well is the same time period, same types of people. Yeah. And
well, when the Atlanteans were gone, their culture continued on. It wasn't that everybody on the planet was stupid and and ruined things. There were other more indigenous people around. So here's where the Mayans came up. They were able to take advantage of the same technology and wisdom that the Atlanteans had, because Thoth was out telling everybody, and he sent priests off into these rather remote areas to just bring knowledge and wisdom to just help humanity. So the Mayans were huge benefactors of that. They were pretty much in the location, and what remained of Atlantis, where there was, here's the Mayan temples. Here they are. So I'm not surprised that you're moved by the Yucatan. Yeah. Man, you spent time there. You're already describing it. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm gonna let you go blow your mind with that.
Yeah. I got some reading and some meditating and some writing to do.
Good.
I thank you.
Well, first of all, I've missed having these conversations with you. When you finally find somebody that gets it, you want to hang on to people that you can have these conversations with and just let them flow and expand, because there's more that's supposed to be revealed. So from that perspective, man, that's a gift to me. And then second, when it's somebody that you really like and you connect with and you can just see what's going on. And now I've had some advanced knowledge of what's coming. I have an obligation with my friends that I'll vibrate the same way. Here, I got stuff to bring to you, and here, let me share this perspective. And when I get to hear yours first, that's when it starts to knit. When that's what spawned this whole idea of, I've had people that keep coming across my path that I keep thinking that you were a druid. You had command of the elements. You were feminine divine energy. You love being in the forest. When you said the ants were covering me, oh my God, here's another one. Yes.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I was like, how is none of these? Okay, all right, friends. We're gonna just brush myself off and kept on going.
I see those, like I said, I see those as they're coming around to pay tribute, because you finally spent time there. Who gets that? They just were loving on you. Occasionally, I think that way when I go through the forest, that this little tree, knew I was coming and kind of stood up because, she wanted to show some respect.
Yes.
I do the same thing for them. It's like when I see animals that, the parade is coming across, and, they wanted to say hi because they knew I was in the neighborhood. It's so sweet.
It is. I went walking on a trail with my friend Coco maybe 3-4 months ago, and we're walking and I waved and she was like, you saw that too? I was like, yeah. A single leaf did this, waved. And I was like, oh, hey. And she was like, okay. That's never happened. I was like, girl, that happened all the time. You better pay attention. These people be talking to you. These beings like.
It's so true. Really, you're missing out on the magic when you're not paying attention to that stuff. And then when you find out, the magic is just one way of them expressing themselves to us. And it's just cute and magnificent anyway. But when you finally get what the actual message is, what they're trying to communicate, there's a lot of stuff coming, and it wants to blow you away, and it understands the clock is ticking. No, there's changes coming. We're trying to prepare you quickly for that in whatever way they can get your attention and communicate. There are more codes that are coming our way. There is repair coming for your DNA, that manipulated stuff. There's a method now for removing that so that you have the original human design restored. When that happens, there's more light that's coming our way. That. The capacity for you to hold more light and higher frequencies is also part of what's changing inside of you. So your whole body is getting ready for things that we didn't understand before. When Kumu had said in August last year, she said something referring to we're receiving the full spectrum light. And then you tuck that away. I didn't know what that meant until 2 days ago. I read a document about, the actual how the process is, where on the planet these zones are going to be. So when Earth, I had envisioned there was a split, and it's not that. Oh no, Earth and her core is still what it is, but there are zones on her that are being cleared now as these dimensional kind of holding zones. So we'll all be drawn to them, and on the day, and there's a 15-day period in between when this begins and when it ends. So even you that didn't live your lives, that believed it and wanted to play these lessons out, if you want to ascend, the opportunity is yours. You're still a sovereign being, you get that choice. If you don't, it won't be here. But there's 20% of the land surface, the Earth's surface, that has been allotted as these areas called golden tayas. We will all be drawn to them. Shasta's one, Sedona's one, Egypt is one, a lot of the British Isles is one. There's a list that was kind of conformed for it, but all those areas are being prepared now, identified and cleared in preparation for the time we're all going to be drawn there. Because during this dimensional shift, here are the places that just slide through whatever you want to see this, membrane. We're all passing through a membrane from this vibration to the next. These are the zones that have been prepared for that, and the souls that are out, they vibrate, so they pass through the membrane. The ones that are on the bottom, they don't make it. Here's where the entropy happens, and they're gone to their next manifestation. Make sense?
Yes, I just had an image or thought that I'm going to ponder for a long time, because it's just another layer.
Yes. Good. I was supposed to leave you with a rabbit hole to go down.
Now my
we have these
brain
conversations.
is going to come like core, magma, lava, but really, is it? Yeah, because I got a lot to think about now.
Good. Then
cool.
Look, I'm gonna stop the recording here.
Okay.